The NFL Combine's in the books. I've already done my video on my top 5 players that saw their stock rise. Here are my top 5 players that saw their stock decrease for the New York Jets. Jets, Jets! Welcome in, gang. My name's Ryan. I'll be your pilot. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. If you've been here before, welcome back. I love having you here. Boys and girls, I go live every Monday at 8 o'clock for my live call-in show. This past week, I had Jets X Factors. Joe blew it on breaking down the Combine, so check that out. And then Tuesday, we got our Talking Jets panel, myself, O'Leary, and Green Bean. This week, we got special guest Ali from Loyal NY Jet Fans, so make sure you check that out as well. But let's jump in to our topic of today, and that is the stock down for guys at the Combine. These are my top 5 guys that saw their stock decrease thanks to the NFL Combine. Now, I already did my top 5, so if you want to check that out, I will link that up above. Let's discuss my top 5. At number 5, someone that I was very, very high on for a long time, would have endorsed taking at number 10 at one point. This has since changed. 1, TREYLON BURKS. 4.55 40, a 10-foot 2-inch broad jump, and a 33-inch vertical. For a guy that was supposed to blow up the Combine, like we were talking like potentially DK Metcalf type like explosion, not quite to the DK level, but you know, that same type of athletic freak specimen, and he just disappointed. It was a very, very underwhelming performance by TREYLON BURKS. And look, the tape does look good, but he was force-fed a lot of carries. He had a lot of manufactured touches, and I think that played a part in how he was utilized at Arkansas. And watching his athletic score drop the way it did is a little concerning because it's not someone I want to spend a top 10 pick on at this point. I've always kind of compared him to Deebo Samuel and A.J. Brown, and I know some people are going to say that's not, you know, an ideal sort of comparison, but that's the way he wants to mimic his play style in the NFL. So when I'm looking at that, I look at Deebo, I look at Brown. They were both taken in the second round. They were both taken like 36 and 51, I think, respectively. TREYLON BURKS was actually scored lower than both those guys on their RAS scores. I believe he was just under a 7, if I'm not mistaken. That's a relative athletic score. That's how you determine how good or athletic you are compared to your peers at your same position. And Joe Douglas appears to really like that RAS number. He has never drafted a player in the top 3 rounds that has scored below an 8.6. So TREYLON BURKS under a 7. Do you think he's going to wind up drafting a player and switching that up? I'm not so sure. I think the lowest player we've drafted as far as a skill set from an athletic standpoint was Elijah Moore last year in the second round with like an 8.6. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see. I don't think the Jets pull the trigger on Burks. Definitely not in the first round. Maybe you consider it if you trade down or possibly looking for him in the second round here. But I was disappointed with what we got out of TREYLON BURKS. At number 4, I'm going to put DEVIN LLOYD down for this one. And I was a little surprised. I thought his 40-yard dash was going to be a little faster. He wound up coming in at a very underwhelming 4.66. He had a 10-foot 6-inch broad jump and a 35-inch vertical. I think the best thing for him is that Nakobe Dean did not participate. That's the only reason he's probably not dropping further down your list than you might otherwise think, because that is just not a very fast speed. But the tape and the way he runs in a 40 are 2 totally different things. You got game speed and you got track speed. So you're going to have to go back and kind of look at DEVIN LLOYD and see, does he fit? Does he make sense? Is he faster than what his 40 time indicates? I would say he's probably not a top 10 pick. Maybe you're looking somewhere around 20 if you trade back with the Steelers or something along those lines, but I would say he did see his stock drop this past weekend. At number 3, I've got someone who didn't actually participate at the Combine, and that's Evan Neal. He's going to wait till his pro day. And you know why he saw his stock drop? Because Ikem Ekwonu and Charles Cross both had great combines. And there is no guarantee that Evan Neal is going to be the top tackle taken at number 1. That's kind of what everyone was sort of projecting for a very long time. And I think he shot himself in the foot. He may cost himself several $100,000 because he did not compete at the Combine. All he had to do is just show a 40, put up a few reps on the bench press. I don't think he would have tested poorly. I just think he got some pretty bad advice from maybe his agent or some advisor. Who knows? I would not take Evan Neal. I think when I'm looking at the top part of this draft, I definitely prefer players like Ekwonu, Kenyon Green, Linderbaum, more than NEAL. And I've probably loosened my stance on taking offensive line in the first round. I definitely don't want to go that route anymore. But I do think Evan NEAL wound up seeing his stock drop because other guys performed so well. Now, at number 2, this is another player who chose not to work out at the Combine, and that is Derek Stingley Jr. Injured back in October, we were not able to see him run or test or do anything, and he's going to perform at LSU's Pro Day. But Sauce Gardner and some of these cornerbacks, this is like the fastest cornerback class that I have ever seen. And Derek Stingley Jr. is just watching his draft stock continue to drop. Not even being able to be there to answer questions, I think, was a huge tactical error on his part. And I don't know if he's getting some bad advice, just like Evan NEAL is saying, like, oh, you know, you're projected a top 5 talent or whatever. Because look, Stingley, fully healthy, freshman year, top 5 caliber. Didn't do it the last 2 years. Got injured, banged up. There's probably an argument for people not throwing his direction. I think that's fair. But based on his injury history and us not being able to see him compete alongside his peers, he's a no-go for me. I think he definitely saw his stock drop this past weekend. At number 1, this is going to probably cause a little bit of a backlash, and you can let me know in the comments section if you think I'm wrong on this, but I'm putting KAYVON Thibodeaux down there. He ran a 4.58 40-yard dash, put up 27 reps on the bench press, both fantastic numbers. He tested really well. He measured in well, but I think what hurt Thibodeaux was the success of the other edge rushers, because it doesn't appear like there's a huge drop-off after the first 2 like we were led to believe at basically the entire offseason. And then some of his interviews were just weird. And then not testing, you know, telling coaches you are going to do all the tests, and then just bailing out after the 40-yard dash. I don't think scouts like that. I don't think teams like that. When you tell them something, they want you to follow through on your word. How do they know that they can trust you in that type of circumstance? And I have no problem with him dipping out of tests. Just be honest about it. Just say, like, hey, look, I'm here for the 40-yard dash and to get measurables. I believe my skill set speaks for itself. The tape speaks for itself, so I'm just going to do what helps my draft stock. I can totally respect that. But when you lie to a team and then you wind up, you know, backing out and dipping out of drills while all these other edge rushers look so good, I think you're asking yourself to take a little bit of a dip there. And I'll be honest, if KAYVON Thibodeaux's sitting there at 4, I don't think I want the Jets to take him. It might be a bit of a weird conundrum, because just a month ago, heck, even 2 weeks ago, I would be pounding the table for Thibodeaux to fall to 4. Now, with all these edge rushers rising, I would rather go with someone like Sauce at number 4 or a different position at number 4. And then at 10, you're probably going to have your choice of 1 or 2 edge rushers that are really, really good. I would bet there's probably going to be 2, I would say there might be 3 edge rushers that go before your pick at 10. So if you like 4 or 5 edge rushers, I would advise you not to take that one at 4 and go and get that guy at 10 to get yourself maybe a little bit better value, because the second cornerback might be a bigger drop down from Sauce Gardner than the 3rd or 4th edge rusher is from the 2nd or 3rd edge rusher. So, guys, let me know your thoughts of this list down below in the comments. Do you like my top 5 or bottom 5? I guess it would be bottom 5. Top 5 dropping stock, guys? I don't know. Let me know in the comment section down below. And as always, go Jets.